Hello, everyone. This is Jason. This video is going to be about two things. It's going to be about Donald Trump's cabinet choices so far, and it's going to be about why Hillary Clinton lost and some ancillary stuff about the Democratic Party and where they go from here. Um, First of all, Trump expected to name billionaire Wilbur Ross as Commerce Secretary. This guy's a Gordon Gecko type from the movie Wall Street. Strip it down, sell all the assets off, fire the labor, cut the labor costs. That's who he is, and he will be running will be his commerce secretary, or at least he's being nominated for his commerce secretary. As we all know, you have to go in front of the House and Senate, which are both Republican controlled, but uh, and also we all know with cabinets. Let me preface this: we all know with the first cabinets that are set up, usually, they're there for 6 months, a year, 18 months. They get embroiled in some scandal or some conflict of interest or something like that, and then they're out. And then normally the president picks a more likable candidate, a more affable candidate to the Senate or House or whatever, somebody who's more mainstream. So we all know these guys, the people that I'm going to talk about, I don't believe are mainstream at all. I think they're pretty radical right wingers, and I think this is what Donald Trump talked about in the debates. He said, "I want to deregulate." That's his answer to make everything better, is to deregulate everything. He's going to deregulate healthcare. He's now deregulating schools, which we can see that's his plan with the nomination of DeVos, with Betsy DeVos. She's a charter school goon. Take a look at her record in Michigan and the Detroit school system. She's a fucking nightmare. She's a billionaire. There's two billionaires now these people are not working class. Betsy DeVos does not give a fucking flying shit about public anything because she didn't go to public schools and her kids don't go to public schools and her kids won't go to fucking public schools. So fuck you and your need for her tax dollars to pay for your schools. Let's privatize it. Let's give it all to corporations. Let's let corporations merge with the state more and create more fascism, and everything will be for profit, and everything will have a dollar sign on it, and your kids' education can be even worse because the education system as it exists now is fucking atrocious, and it needs to be. But taking the money away from it, and then creating a competition like charter schools. And then, of course, it'll just create more economic disparity between rich and poor people. It's a terrible idea for poor communities. Awful, awful idea for lower income communities and just regularly lower middle class places. And it's only good for the rich, and it's only good for them, of course, because they want your tax dollars. Your tax dollars are the thing that these billionaires want. They make money. I mean, Betsy DeVos's family, amongst other things, made money selling Amway. These people are scum. Okay, they're fucking scum, and they want to. This Ross guy as well. He makes his money. Wilbur Ross makes his money by buying companies, finding what's valuable about those companies, keeping that, selling those off, and then firing everybody that's in the labor pool. And it never turns out well, and that's what he's doing. Mike Pence, for instance. Mike Pence is a creature that couldn't get reelected in Indiana. I'm not even talking about their social issues, which are atrocious, but their economic views, the way they view the world, the way they think that deregulation and getting rid of the government completely, and not even and using the power of the private sector to solve all the problems, when it only leads to more poverty. It only leads to more unemployment. It only leads to more outsourcing, more free trade, more of that shit. Because that surplus capital that they make, as Marx talks about, that's the whole key of Marx's entire work about capitalism. The surplus capital, they use that surplus capital to make more surplus capital and to control the economic system, to control the political system, to control the message. And that's what they've done in this election. And that's what they're doing with these people that Donald Trump is bringing into his cabinet. And this goes into Jeff Sessions. And I'll go into why I think I'm going to shift gears a tad here. But this is why here's why Nikki Haley was nominated as UN ambassador. Here's why Jeff Sessions is nominated as Attorney General. Here's why Mike Pence is where he is. Here's why Rudy Giuliani is being discussed in some sort of role. Joe Arpaio, as well as his Mexican hate, but it being discussed in the cabinet. But really, the Nikki Haley thing and Sessions and Flynn as well. Flynn is the guy, the general that said that Sharia law is taking over America, and the other people the HAWKS that he's brought in, Henry Kissinger, the having the discussion at Trump Towers. I could see all the crushing. I could just see all the faces of all the little New World Order gun nuts watching Alex Jones when they heard that Donald Trump met with Henry Kissinger. You can't get much more New World Order than Henry Kissinger. So, but my point was that the reason Nikki Haley is the UN ambassador, and the reason that they're going hardcore right wing anti-Muslim types is because I believe they're going to invade Iran. Iran is not nuclear. Donald Trump wants to make his mark. He fucking builds buildings that have his name on them that are dicks. I mean, that the guy wants he's insecure. Jimmy Dore calls him Donny Tinyhands. Donny Tinyhands. And he's an insecure man to almost a crippling degree. And he has moments of self-awareness, as do every human being. And he knows he can see that he's a joke. And he wants something that's going to set him apart that people will remember him for. They're not going to remember him for deregulation of schools, as bad as that's going to be, or deregulation further of our economic policies and cutting taxes for rich people to create jobs somehow, and all these things, and being anti-free trade, but I don't know how anti-free trade he really is when all of the people that he is in bed with, DeVos, Ross, etc., they love outsourcing, they love fucking NAFTA, they love free trade. Donald Trump wants to make a mark, and that will be the invasion of Iran. And this is what the Central Intelligence Agency has wanted since the 1940s. Since they overthrew Mossadegh, even before, they wanted fucking control of Iran because Iran has the biggest oil reserve in the world. They already essentially proxy control Saudi Arabia. They control Iraq, even though they may not control it, quote unquote, but they control it enough to keep it oppressed so Western oil factions can still do whatever they want to without any competition from the two largest oil reserves in the world, essentially. Or not as much competition as you would have, because let's be honest, what if Iran was allowed to sell their oil openly on the market, and so was Iraq, and Saudi Arabia was as well? How much would oil be worth a barrel? $10? $5? $4? $3? It would remove the economic power from the most powerful corporations in our society. Because oil is, I always say to people, people say, oil it's not infinite, it runs out. You're exactly right. But are you worried about the oceans running out? because that's how much oil is underneath these countries. And they are an economic threat to American and Western and European business interests, and the most important business in our country, because we're a car culture, oil and gas, and that's a given. So, and now Donald Trump wants to make a mark. And the CIA and the military-industrial complex is like, yes, let's go, let's get it. And he's bringing all these people in. He's bringing a hawk like Haley in to support whatever he's going to want to do to the UN and to sell his opposition to Iran and whatever threat that they're planning that Israel is going to use to make this happen, because this is what Israel wants as well, the United States to invade Iran, and the American military-industrial complex and the CIA wants it. And now they have a president who wants it and who said it in the debates. And now we're going to see, because they're not nuclear, and this is a perfect time in Donny Tinyhands is in his brain to go over there and do this. And I think that's going to be his monument. That's going to be that's what he wants his monument to be, an invasion of Iran. Something George Bush couldn't get done, something Barack Obama couldn't get done, something nobody could get done. Ronald Reagan couldn't get done, but he could get done. And I think that's what all this is being set up for. So, having said that, and about Donald Trump and what I think his inevitable foreign policy goals are, and I think in this country it's just going to get worse, his deregulation of everything. He said it. He's going to deregulate healthcare, deregulate. And we're already seeing it with his nominations for Commerce Secretary and Education Secretary. Now, shifting gears, why Hillary Clinton lost this election. It's pretty simple to me to understand why Hillary, and I was talking about it before the election, it's socioeconomic. It's the economy, stupid. It's what James Carville said in the War Room. Which was a Clinton advisor, ironically. It's the economy, stupid. The economy was bad, is so bad that people are willing to go hard left or hard right. Now, this is not the first time America has decided to go this way. In fact, this is the way America always votes. America votes the outsider in. They don't like the status quo machine. They don't like it. And so they're given either right or left. And now Americans have seen through that, and they've, because of the internet, because of common sense, because of being fucked over enough times that their ass is chapped, and now they're starting to have to put ointment on it, and the ointment's not working anymore. They've seen the illusion that's been created, and that it's a lie, that it's false opposition, it's loyal opposition, it's nonsense, and it's not helping the American people. It's only helping the very rich. Occupy helped this. Occupy Wall Street gave you the 1%, 99% idea. That was a very important thing. Bernie Sanders has run with that and made socialism acceptable in America, which is unfucking fathomable to me 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Just would be unfathomable to me 10 years ago. So this is why Hillary Clinton lost, because she didn't address any of the problems. And when she started to let Bernie Sanders articulate her message, it was too late. And nobody would trust her. They trusted Bernie Sanders, but they didn't trust her. And then Bernie Sanders not being on the ticket, I think, made a huge difference to the people in the Midwest. If the media does one thing correct, it's the Electoral College. And meaning by that, I do. I've been watching the election on mainstream media since I was 16. I was 16 in 1992. Since I was roughly 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, I've really paid attention. And the explosion of cable news, I was literally there for it because I, like many people that are listening to this, I had cable and I watched this explosion exist, and I really liked the information. It was before the internet and Hardball and even Handy and Combs and Bill O'Reilly show and Phil Donahue show before it was canceled. And all of those and all of this stuff was coming at you. And Crossfire, the original that started all this. And Frontline and all those, not Frontline, but whatever the one was in California. But so Firing Line. So I watched all this, and what I've seen is, so every election cycle, the media does one thing really well. They talk about how important the Electoral College is. They make no illusion that it's the most important thing in the election, correct? I mean, am I wrong about this? Go watch any old election coverage on YouTube, and you'll see the fucking Electoral College number is the only one that matters. They don't give a shit. They'll mention the popular vote. They'll show the popular vote and say, "Oh, the popular vote is," but the Electoral College is where the bear sleeps in the buckwheat. Okay, and they tell you that the whole night electoral update. 2 more points for Hillary Clinton. I mean, just constantly. And they've done this since I can remember in elections. And yet the Democrats somehow don't give a shit about the Electoral College. The Democrats somehow are like, fuck the Electoral College. We're going to win New York and LA, and New York and California is so big that we're going to win the popular vote. It's like they don't understand you're not going to win. I mean, Hillary Clinton didn't visit Wisconsin. The Democrats lost Wisconsin. Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, North Carolina, Ohio, Florida. These are the states that you have to win the presidency. You have to win them. And there are other, obviously, they are crucial. Crucial. Pennsylvania being another one. Crucial. And Hillary Clinton kind of treats this as though it's not that important. Or at least the working class people in those places that vote are not really that important any longer. Or that we can just somehow we're going to win it's totally a ridiculous fucking logic. And it seems to me that's the same thing they did in 2000, and it's been progressive. Obama changed this a little bit because and this will get to my point, what I was making earlier. Americans do this all the time with the hope and change thing. Look at Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan came out. I know he'd ran for president before and was governor of California, but he wasn't from Washington. He wasn't a senator. He wasn't a vice president. He gets 2 terms. One of the most popular presidents in United States history. I think people are revising that, but still, I think he's one of the worst. Then you have George Bush, who gets 1 year. Bill Clinton comes out of nowhere. He was a governor from Arkansas, from a fledgling, Rockefeller state that was so pro-business that one of the worst social services states and one of the most pro-business, Walmart, Tyson Chicken, CSX Lines, many more, comes out of nowhere, wins because and Ross Perot had something to do with it. He took a lot of the right-wing vote. I know that. But Bill Clinton is from out of nowhere and wins in his re-election running away. Then instead of voting for Al Gore in the Midwest and the economy not great, it was starting to really get on working class people and lower income class people. Al Gore loses, and he loses crucial states in the Midwest. Now you can say that there was vote stealing in taking black people off the rolls. Cross-check is that program that was started in Florida and Ohio and other places. But he still lost, and he didn't fight it, and he didn't go after it, and he still lost states that should have working class people would have voted for him, and he still lost them. And because George Bush was a quote outsider, he was a governor of Texas, but he was really an outsider. No one, he came from outside. Then 8 years after that, Americans did it again with Barack Obama. 8 years after George Bush, they vote for another outsider that is from nowhere, comes out of nowhere, and that they can project whatever bullshit they want to project on him. And he's different and he's new, and we'll take him over the establishment. Okay? Which was John McCain, the establishment candidate. Then, 8 years later, Americans do it again in 2016. They vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the outsider. He's not Hillary. Hillary Clinton's the insider. Hillary Clinton's the name. Donald Trump's the outsider. They would have voted for Bernie Sanders over Donald Trump, but they weren't allowed to because the Democrats are now the party of Charles Schumer. They're, which I will get to that in a moment, why that's good for everybody. So, they have this idea now that Hillary Clinton is the establishment, which she is, and her policies, which her husband's policies, and the policies when she was in the Senate, and when she was supporting Barack Obama, and she supported all these policies, and she understands. She gets that it's the hatred against her. So instead of trying to go into towns and cities throughout America and do the handshake, kiss baby shit, she can't because nobody wants her there. First of all, they boo her, and she's not good at it. She's not Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton can go and schmooze, she doesn't particularly seem to really like people. She seems to want to. She's caustic, and people don't like her. And so she's unlikable as a human being and as a politician, and she's also, her ideas are the same. And so she started to embrace Bernie's ideas way too late. If she'd embraced his ideas and put him on, if it would have been Hillary Clinton Sanders, she probably would be president. She probably would have won Wisconsin. Because they would have used him aggressively and said, we're bringing socialism into the White House, we're bringing this, but she didn't. And to articulate her points, she did it way too late. And really, I don't think she wanted to articulate her points through Bernie Sanders. I think she wanted to articulate her points through her and who she was. And I think it backfired miserably. And Tim Kaine was straight up horrible. Tim Kaine is more right wing than Hillary Clinton. If you didn't notice, the Democrats have tried to move themselves completely to the right, and it's been a colossal fucking failure. And now that failure is continuing, and I'm going to get to my point about Charles Schumer. It's continuing. Charles Schumer was elected the head of the Senate. He is going to be the president of the Senate, which is fucking awesome. Because what it's going to do is these terrible policies, these neoliberal policies, and this terrible direction that the Democrats have just decided they've just decided to turn into this kid. They're going to hit the snowbank, and it's going to hurt bad. And they're already almost there. And what it'll do is it'll shake up the Democrats. It'll completely change the Democratic Party, and it'll make it more left-wing. Because Bernie Sanders will rise as your only option. And he will come, and his ideas will come out, and they will be the only fucking option that works for the Democrats. Or the Democrats will lose again, and they'll lose the House, and they'll lose they'll go to more totalitarian. Because that's what they'll choose. That'll be the alternative. It's a bizarre thing. But people support extremism on both sides because they just want change. They want something different. And Bernie Sanders will bring that in 4 years. They wanted Bernie Sanders this time. They're ready for Bernie Sanders. America is ready for that. And so what it'll do, and the Democrats don't give a good goddamn. They're going to stay with Charles Schumer. They're going to stay with Howard Dean. They're going to stay with the wrong people. And I don't think Keith Ellison's the right person, but the Democrats are kind of lacking right now because that's who they've elected that's who they've supported in national elections. So, I mean, Harold Ford. Remember, Harold Ford was going to be the star of the Democratic Party, and he's become this. Now he might end up in the Trump administration. That was the mistake of Democrats. They supported the wrong Democrats. They supported the wrong people. Not the ones that were going to take the party into the future and be more liberal and be more socialist. They took them to the right wing, and the right wing failed, and the right wing is failing now. And Donald Trump is doubling down on the right-wing failures, and the left, and this will only benefit the left because the left thinks this is the way it's going to be. And the people out there are so pissed off, they'll just wait for 4 years like they always do and be more broke and more broke and more broke. And unless Trump does some great, which I don't think he will, I think Donald Trump's going to deregulate everything, cut taxes for the rich. And I think what it's going to end up having, we're going to be in the wrong kind of debt, because what he's going to do is increase the military, and he won't increase in infrastructure spending. And he'll be able to point out GDP growth through the military spending that he's increased. But other than that, and like I said, his legacy will be Iran. It will be the invasion of Iran, I believe. And so, but in 4 years from now, that will all be moot, because the Democrats won't have anywhere else to go but left. So anybody that opposes Sanders will have to be more left than Sanders, because right won't work. People will just go, oh, he's a Wall Street guy, fuck him. So you'll open it up for more people. You'll even open it up for Jill Stein, and to get out of the Green Party and move to the Democrats, or maybe bring the Green Party over to the Democrats, or vice versa, or some kind of coalition, and other groups, because that's what you have to do in America, because it's a two-party system, unfortunately. If it wasn't a two-party system, Bernie Sanders would have won, because he would have been the socialist candidate, and enough third parties would have voted for him. But that's not America. It's a two-party system. So there has to be coalitions set up, and that's why the Republicans are so fucking good at the big tent. That's why they use that symbology so much. That's why Republicans constantly talk about the big tent, meaning this tent is so fucking big, and Democrats tend to have a small tent. It doesn't matter who's in charge; they tend to have a small tent, so they push out. So when they're more left, they push out the more centrists, and then when they're more centrist, they push out the left. They can't figure out the coalitions that need to be set up. They can't figure out that, who the common enemy really is. It's not always the other party, but sometimes it's your own party's support, or who supports the upper echelon of your party, Wall Street, etc. Because they're supporting everybody. They're supporting both sides. They don't really care who wins, and they need their class to blah, blah, blah. You know the arguments. So I think that this is only good for the Democrats. This only works for this actually will strengthen the Democrats in 4 years. It's going to be bumpy for the next 4. No question. But I don't think I think it's going to be good, because it's going to just lead to more leftist policies, and it'll get to be a point where socialism will take over this country like a wildfire, and people will be like, I don't care how much debt you have to go into. We need jobs, we need infrastructure, we need it now, and we demand it. And Bernie Sanders will be there saying, okay, and whoever opposes him will have to be more left, because after Trump, people will be begging for left. They'll just be begging for the left wing, begging for socialism, begging for something alternative to what he's going to bring to you, because it's not going to be pretty. And also, just keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye out for this continued trend of trying to get billionaires into your cabinet. Keep up this trend of getting more and more people that are hawkish against Muslims, that are hawkish against Iran, that are big-time military guys, big-time supporters of the hardcore right-wing military. People that are very pro-Israel to a retarded degree. I mean, I'm pro-Israel, but I'm for a two-state solution. But these people are not. They're for something even more hardcore than that. They're for Israel. I mean, they're for some dark shit. They're Zionists, and a lot of these people are. Keep an eye out for them. This all does not bode well for Iran. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.